All right, hello, you guys. Are you ready for take two of this webinar training? I am so excited still to be doing this, even though earlier today was a little bit of a struggle. But before I get into all of that, if you can just let me know whether or not you can hear me. So if you can hear me, feel free to just quickly chat and let me know if you can actually hear me. I am just really hype for today's training because you know what, you guys, earlier today, and I've been excited. I've been excited for this for a couple of weeks. And earlier today, I was ready to give my training, signed on, super excited, and of course, freaking technology, being the devil, decided that it was not going to cooperate. And it was really frustrating, and I was really disappointed. But the thing that it really made me realize is that I'm not awesome. You guys are freaking awesome because I got such an incredible amount of just love and support from you guys. When that happens, everybody was so understanding, especially those of you who have ever done a webinar before. You already know webinar technology can be kind of intense, and I was trying something new, and now I'm trying something else new, but I have a couple backups in place. I have my iPad, I have my phone, I have Siobhan on GChat, and so if anything goes wrong tonight, then I should be able to know immediately, and I will work to fix that, because no matter what happens, come hell or high water, we gonna talk about getting your first paid speaking gig. We gonna talk about it. Like, we're gonna be about it. And so no matter what happens tonight, that is going to be a really exciting just part of the adventure. And we're definitely going to move forward and just really do this training like I had originally planned. So welcome, you guys. It is 8:02. Welcome to How to Get Your First Paid Speaking Gig, a free 90-minute training by yours truly, LC Johnson. And I'm so excited to have you guys here. Thank you for everybody who was with me earlier today. And thank you for everyone who couldn't make it earlier that is here right now. Before we get started, I would love if you guys would just introduce yourselves. We did this earlier, but I love to know who's in the room. So if you just want to take a minute and kind of tell me who you are and where you're from, that would be awesome. So who are you and where are you listening in from tonight? Earlier today, we had people from all over. We had folks from Alabama, lots of California peeps. We had we had a couple New Yorkers, I think a Detroiter, had a couple folks from Toronto. So it was definitely a really cool crowd calling in from all over the place. So I would love to know where you guys are from tonight. If you don't know already, I am broadcasting out of Columbus, Ohio, and super, still super new to the Midwest. You guys, I am a freaking Southern girl. Like, when I found out, okay, this is an aside, and I promise I'm really about to get back on track. But literally, when I found out that, like, not all McDonald's served, like, the freaking chicken biscuit, I was like, and my husband was like, yeah, that's a Southern thing. I was like, but wait, doesn't everybody need a chicken biscuit? Doesn't everyone? So yes, I am still just adjusting to life outside of the South. So I have a couple people who are letting me know where they're calling in from. I have Deja from Jersey. Hey, girl. Appreciate you because you were here earlier. I have G blogger who lives in San Diego. I have Alex, born and raised in Detroit. Now she lives in the Bronx. Oh my goodness, Alex, you're hilarious, because for a second I did not realize that was you, and I was about to be like, I know somebody else like that I should introduce you to. Okay, well, yeah, it's been a long day. Ebony for Texas and Shara from Cali. Welcome, everyone. And Deja said they don't have chicken biscuits in Jersey. Yeah, struggling out here. We have Anna, who is in Portugal at the moment but lives in England. Wow, thank you for joining. I cannot believe that you are all the way in England. That's awesome. So Michelle from Indianapolis. All right, so we have, a good group of folks, people calling in from all over, and I'm really excited to get this training started. So as I was saying earlier, usually when I run my trainings, I kind of go on CP time. But you know what? We've had enough struggles this evening, so I'm not even about to be on CB time. I just want to go ahead and get it started. So what this is going to look like is I actually have a training that I have prepared for you guys, and we're going to go through that. And if at any point you have questions, feel free to chat me. Selena said she's from the UK. Woohoo! Got some UK folks, some Toronto folks. We international out here. So if at any point you guys want to ask a question, feel free to chat me. I may not get to them until the end of the training, but still feel free to chat me because I will see them. All right, so here was the point last time where stuff started getting a little cray. The dreaded screen share, but I am going to try to share my screen. I am watching this presentation on 3 different devices, and so if something goes wrong, please just bear with me and we will make it happen. But you know what? We're gonna tackle this together, y'all. We're gonna tackle it together. Here we go. All right, so at this point, you should be able to see my screen. I want to take a second because the way Google Hangout works is you guys are a little bit delayed from me. So I'm speaking a little bit ahead of what you all are hearing. So I just want to make sure that you all can see my screen and that we are good to go. Okay, so I see that you all can see my screen. Woohoo! Success, success. All right, so let's go ahead and get this party started. Like I said, welcome to How to Get Your First Paid Speaking Gig. I am so excited to be teaching this material tonight, you guys, because honestly, speaking has changed my life, and I'm going to get into, I know that sounds like super dramatic, and you guys might be like, really, Elsie? Really? Changed your life? But I promise you, speaking has totally changed my life, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that very soon, but it wasn't until recently that I decided that I really wanted to put together this training and work with other women who are interested in speaking. And it's funny because a lot of you guys have been asking me to do this training. A lot of you have been asking me, can you work with me on speaking? Can you help me build my speaking career? And I've been kind of answering questions one-off here and there, et cetera, et cetera. But it wasn't until I was recently in Toronto speaking at Side Hustle Week. Shout out to Siobhan, founder of Secrets of a Side Hustler, for having me in Canada. But it wasn't until recently when I spoke at that event, and afterwards, a young woman came up to me, a fabulous, individual. I think she's in here. Samantha came up to me and was like, Elsie, how did you get started in all this? And we started having this conversation, and I really just began expressing to her how passionate I was about speaking, about what speaking can do for your career and for you. And I was sharing with her the story of how this had worked in my own life. And she said, do you coach? Do you train around this? And I thought about it and I realized that I had all of this knowledge that I've kind of been sharing a little bit here and a little bit there. And I really wanted to put it together in one single training. So in addition to this free training, I've actually put together a whole new entire course on speaking. But I really just wanted to dive right in with this free training and get started just kind of sharing the basic elements of what it takes to really get your foot in the door, because that's so often what people are asking me. How do I get started? So I really want to take a minute and I just want to share that with you. So here's what you're going to learn during this training. And there are a lot of things that I thought about putting in this training, but when it came down to it, there were a couple things that I felt like I really had to share with you guys in terms of helping you take that first step and just get your foot in the door. Because so often I've been on webinars or workshops where they've given us a little bit of information here or there, but nothing that was super actionable. So I really want to spend some time today giving you all information that you're going to be able to take and you're going to be able to use. So the first thing we're going to talk about is why you should start speaking right now. And by right now, I mean yesterday, like last week, last month, last year. Like, you need to get on this immediately, even if public speaking intimidates the hell out of you, because I will be completely honest, I still get such intense stage fright when I speak. I cannot eat the day that I'm going to speak. So if I have a night event, like when I was in Toronto, the event didn't start until I don't know, I think like 7 or 8. And I had not eaten all day because I get so nervous. But I still believe that you should get started speaking, even if you get really intimidated by the idea of speaking. I'm also going to share with you a simple but truly effective branding exercise to help you clarify your messaging and your unique value proposition. Because a lot of us, we feel that we really want to get out and speak. We know we have something to say, but we get tripped up on the language of how to describe what it is we do, how to put our passion into words. So I'm going to be sharing with you a very simple, but trust me, it is super effective branding exercise that's going to help you clarify all of that. And finally, I'm going to share with you the easiest market for newbie speakers to break into, plus how to get your foot in the door and start getting paid right away. I am super hyped about this part of the training. I am not even going to lie to you. I cannot wait to share this gem that most people do not even realize about how you can start getting paid right away as a speaker and what market is best for people who have never spoken before. So it is going to be a jam-packed training. I'm really, really, really excited for it. Now, before we start really diving deep, and I'm going to say that probably a couple times, before we start really diving deep into this training, sorry, you guys, I had like an alert on my phone. I was like, oh no, is something going wrong? But no, we're all good. Crisis averted. I want to share with you 3 things that are going to help you make the most out of this training. The first thing is I want you to take notes. And as I was sharing with the folks in the earlier webinar, you guys, I was definitely that girl. Like, I was that girl in class who was like feverishly taking notes, like taking such a copious amount of notes that like literally it was like my professor was just dropping all types of knowledge, even if they weren't. But I was that girl. And I still believe that there's something about actually taking pen and paper, sitting down and writing notes that can really help you to internalize what is going on and what you're learning during this training. So if you can, I want you to go grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and I want you to have that nearby so that you can be taking notes. Number 2, use the hashtag. We have a hashtag for this training. It is hashtag SheSpeaks. And I would love if you would use this hashtag when you are tweeting, Facebooking, Instagramming. And the reason is twofold. I think the main reason that I really want you to use this hashtag is because I want you all to be able to find each other. Because how often do you really get to be in a space where you are with like-minded individuals who truly understand what it is you're trying to do? I don't know if you live a charmed life, but in my existence, it's rare. That's a really rare space to be in. And so as you're going through this training, as you're remarking on what you're learning, or sharing your thoughts on some of the things that I'm saying, I want you to use that hashtag. And then after this training, I want you to look through that hashtag and really try to connect with some other folks who are trying to do what you're trying to do. Because I promise you, one of the things you're going to need as you pursue this journey, if you're serious about it, is people in your life who understand what it is that you're trying to do and support that. So use the hashtag, tweet, share what we're talking about, and then make sure you use that as an opportunity to connect with each other after the training is over. And then finally, I want you all to stay until the very end of this training. And that is because I am giving away something very special at the end of this training. And it's only going to be available. It's only people who are here at the end of the training will be eligible to win this particular prize. So I'm really excited about it. I know you guys will love it. So make sure you stay till the end so that you can be eligible to potentially win that. Now, I talked a little bit about this earlier, and I know that a lot of folks who are listening to this training, you guys already know me. You may know me from being on my email list. We may have met on social media or another place online. We may even know each other offline. Oh my goodness, let's not get crazy. But there are some folks who registered for this training who don't know me, who've never met me and don't know my story. And actually, there are some folks who might be on this training who do know me and still do not necessarily know my story. So before I start talking at you guys, I felt like I might want to sit down and explain why the hell you should listen to me in the first place. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is LC Johnson, and I am most known for my blog, Color Girl Confidential. Color Girl Confidential is a blog that I started in 2012. I was a recent college grad, and I was in a space where I was really trying to explore my identity at the intersection of race and gender, work and love and life. And I wanted to have conversations about what it meant to navigate all of that. So I started my blog, Color Girl Confidential, which over time was recognized by Forbes. And earlier this year, I decided to retire my blog. So there you see a picture of the book that I published that came from my blog that actually made its way to the top of its category on the Amazon bestseller list. And it was a really great way to go out with a bang. But what a lot of people don't know, and some people kind of have heard this story. If you've heard me speak before, you probably know a little bit about how I got into this world of online entrepreneurship and content creation. I did not gracefully, enter into this world. I fell face first into this world. In fact, I was kind of shoved. I decided to become a full-time entrepreneur after I lost my job in the nonprofit sector in when was this? Summer of 2012. So my blog was only a few months old, but even at that point, I knew that I had really found something that made me happy. I knew that I loved having these conversations. I loved meeting other people who were interested in what I was doing and who were really awesome and amazing. And so I decided that I really wanted to go forward and figure out how to make money. I'd heard a lot of people talk about making money doing what you love. So I was like, yeah, that sounds good. Making money, doing what you love. I like it. And so I decided that I was going to try it. Well, it turns out that making money doing what you love is a lot harder than it looks. And so for a few years, I really experimented with all types of different income streams. I coached clients. I built online courses. I taught workshops. I really experimented. And for the most part, I was fairly successful. I launched courses and then sold out. I had an opportunity to work with different clients, and I had amazing relationships with the folks that I did work with. But I'll be completely honest, you guys, because people would look at me and be like, oh, LC, you're killing it. You're doing it. Woohoo! But there was a big part of me that knew deep down that I was stressed. I was stressed because even as I was making money and doing these different things, it was a constant grind. It was a constant hustle. Every single thing that I was doing required so much work and preparation. And in the early stages especially, it was really hard because the work that I was doing wasn't enough to fully support my lifestyle. And so there were moments when I would get really, really discouraged. And I continued to look for an income stream that I felt like something that was not going to take all of my time and all of my sanity. And so I struggled along for a couple years. And that's when I got invited to do my first speaking engagement. A person from my blog reached out to me and asked me if I was interested in speaking on her campus. And I told her, okay, you know what? Sure. Like, you know, she asked me actually like, hey, LC, do you speak? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty proficient at forming words. I think, yeah, I know how to talk. So we'll just go with this. And so she asked me if I spoke. I told her that, you know, I did. And we ended up having a really great conversation about the type of event she was planning and what she was hoping for. And she wanted to fly me out to her campus and put me up. And she wanted me to do a 90-minute workshop on women of color and leadership, which is something I'm super passionate about. So you guys, I was excited, but honestly, I had no idea what to expect. So I was thinking to myself, I've never spoken before. And I have like no testimonials. I got nothing. So when it came time to negotiate my fee, I had no idea what to ask. I was thinking in my head, okay, you know what? $500. Like they want me to come do something for 90 minutes, like $500. They're going to fly me out. They're going to put me up and like $500. Yo, I would feel great about that. And so in my mind, I was like, I'm going to quote her something a little bit higher so she has to talk me down. We can get to $500. And that was like my big thing. So I'm on the phone with her and we're done kind of talking about the event and all of this good stuff. And then she asked me, she said, well, Elsie, what's your fee? Well, I didn't want to tell her my fee until I knew what her budget was, which is something I advise all speakers, something I talk more in depth about in my course about how to negotiate your speaking fees. But one thing you definitely need to know is never, ever, ever be the first one to give a fee. One of the things, so instead, what I asked her, I was like, well, you know, I'm really excited about what you're trying to do, and I want to find a way to make it happen. So how much do you have in the budget? And let's see if we can work around that. So she told me, she was like, well, like I said, we'll fly you out, we'll put you up, but we only have a small budget for the speaker's honorarium. And I was like, okay, well, what is your budget? She was like, well, we put aside $1,500 for the speaker. So in my mind, I'm like, wait, what? Did she just say $1,500? To her, I was like, okay, you know, I really think that we can work within it in that budget. And, you know, I'm really excited to make this happen. But what happened in that moment was that it really opened my eyes, y'all, to like this whole other world that is incredibly lucrative, and also something that is super scalable, incredibly lucrative, and really emotionally fulfilling, because she was asking me to do something I already love to do, and she was basically going to be paying me over $1,000 for a 90-minute workshop. And it really just opened my eyes. So at that point, I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to figure this speaking thing out. And I set about to do just that. And in the last year, I was invited to do a TED Talk. I've spoken internationally in Canada. Shout out again to secretsofasideHustler.com for inviting me up there. I was the youngest speaker ever invited to speak at the Women of Power, the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit, in front of 500 senior level executives. And here I was, 25 years old, like, hi guys. And in addition to that, I also organized a 10 college tour and made over $20,000 in 3 months. So I know all about what it takes to build a speaking career from scratch, because that is exactly what I did. I had no formal training, I had no mentors, and I had no idea what the hell I was doing. So it really took some learning and it took some time, but I was able to figure it out and create a truly successful speaking career. And I want to share with you tonight how to take some of the first steps to doing that for yourself. Now, we probably have a good mix of folks in the audience, so I'd love to ask a question. And I never know how to phrase this question, but we had 2 kind of pre-work assignments, free writes that I gave you guys. And the first one was, what is your goal with speaking? And I would also love to know where you're coming from into this space. So I would really, are you a blogger? Are you an author, professor? What is your goal with speaking? And how did you arrive at this point where you decided, I want to be a speaker? Because a lot of us have preconceived notions about who should speak, right? They're like, oh, it's just for this type of person or just for that type of person. And you may even hear my story and be like, well, see, you're a blogger, so that makes sense, but I'm not a blogger. But you know what? Speaking is not just for bloggers. Speaking is for bloggers, it's for authors, it's for coaches, it's for activists, it's for intellectuals, it's for professionals who want to be seen at the top of their field. And honestly, y'all, it's for anyone who has a story to tell. And I truly believe that, because I think that if you feel called enough to be on this training, then that means that deep down you feel like you have something to share with the world. And if you have that feeling almost never lies. So most people who feel compelled to speak, it's because they have something to say. So I really love, kind of blowing people's minds in terms of thinking about who all can be a speaker, who all can do this work. And I see a couple folks who are talking about what they want to do. I want to empower women to stop trading hours for dollars. Yes, activists and teachers, yay. So all of these, Dej says, I'm a blogger, recently published a book which falls into the self-help category. Want to use my book as a platform. G says, I've been blogging since 2012. My regular job is a research scientist. And you know what? All of you can take that stage. All of you have what it takes. So don't think that there's one particular profile of someone who can or should be a speaker. Now let's talk about why I feel like you need to start speaking. Not only can you speak, let's talk about why I feel like you need to be speaking today. I literally am over here keeping myself from like banging onto my table because I know that my computer is sitting on it. But that is how passionately I feel about the fact that you need to be speaking today. And there are 3 main reasons why I feel like you need to start speaking today. The first is because you need to get your story out there. If you are someone who has expertise, or you are someone who has a life story, it's not just about you, but it's also about all of the people that you are meant to touch. And a lot of times I feel that we get caught up in our own head and our own fears, and we stop thinking about the fact that we are meant to be of service. So it's not just about getting your story out there for you. It's about getting your story out there because there are people who need your story and they're waiting for you to take the stage and share that with them. There are people who need your expertise. There are people who need to hear how you overcame, how you got through. There are people who need to learn what you have to teach. And so it is so imperative that you start speaking today to get your story out there so that you can touch those individuals who are meant to be touched by what it is you have to say. The second piece is a little bit less lovey and loosey-goosey, and is more practical. You guys, speaking helps enhance your credibility. There is no other way around it. When you can put on your website or your business card that you have spoken at a conference, or you have taught a workshop, or you have been invited to perform at an event or speak at an event, that raises your profile in whatever field it is that you're in. It raises your credibility and it allows more eyes to get on the work that you're doing. And you all shared some of the things that you're doing. I want to go back to the chat. I have somebody who said, I am a blogger and a speaker by sharing my testimony with suicide, but I have other experiences as a new mom, want to inspire and encourage others. I want to speak on how to build a community around your idea. I want to encourage young women, especially those of color, to enter engineering. Black women in career. I'm an academic. I've been invited to speak a couple times. I would love to start doing this on a regular basis. You guys, you have what it takes. Samantha says, I want to help super achieving, high achieving women learn how to master their inner critics. You have what it takes to rise to the top of your field, to stand out, to not only touch others, not only transform other people's lives, but to transform your own life through building your community and building your platform. Because the higher your credibility becomes, the more eyes are on the incredible work that you're really passionate about doing. And then the third reason why you need to start speaking today, not tomorrow, not next week. Okay, well, maybe whatever. You need to start today. I've come too far. I'm making a strong statement. So here goes. The third reason is because you need to get paid. Speaking is an incredibly lucrative way to make both full-time, part-time, and even sporadic income. If you can make how much would $1,500 transform your life right now? I literally want people to answer this question in the chat. What would you do with $1,500 right now? If I wrote you a check for $1,500 right now, what would you do with it? Because that is essentially what I'm telling you to do, to get out there and start speaking and building your credibility so that that check becomes a reality. And so I know I really want to hear what you guys would do if I wrote you this check. I know that if it were me, what would I do? I would probably go on vacation. I would probably go on vacation because it's about to get cold in Ohio. And I just, you know what? I'm a Southern girl and I just need the warmth. But yeah, this is why you need to start speaking right now, today. Enhance your credibility, get your story out there, and get paid. I have a couple people pay off bills, student loans, pay the bills, put it back in my business, pay on some credit cards. You guys, this is real. And this is a real opportunity that we're talking about. And so I'm really, really glad that you're starting to see the potential of how lucrative, but also how emotionally fulfilling this work can truly become. Now, at this point, because I know y'all are in the chat like, yeah, girl, I want to pay off these bills. I'm going to pay off this credit card. For me, I'm going to go on vacation. Okay, but how do you start, right? Y'all are excited. I'm hearing the energy. I'm hearing the excitement. I see that you're interested in learning more about how to really do this in a powerful way. But where the hell do you start? And this is such a good question because this is the question that stops so many of us. Where do we start? So there is a foundation. There's a foundation that comes along with any solid speaking career, but anyone who has ever worked with me, and I'm gonna shout out to Alex right now because Alex and I worked together a lot this year, so she already knows this, but you already know what I'm gonna say, which is that there are 3 things you have to know, whether it's in your speaking career, in your blog, in your business, whatever it is, you need to be able to answer these 3 questions. Who do you help? How do you help them? And why is your work important? And when I was in Toronto, I really spoke about the power of being able to answer these 3 questions and also being able to especially answer number 3 and talk about why your work is so important. Why is it so important to you? Why is it so important to the people who are going to encounter it? So these are the 3 questions that you need to know. Who do you help? How do you help them? And why is your work important? Now, this is meant to be an interactive workshop. And I told you guys, if you come on this workshop, I'm putting your butt to work, and we are going to workshop some of these statements right now. So what I want you to do is I want you to take out that pen and paper, and I want you to fill out this sentence for me. I help blank do blank because blank. Now, I told you I had a really awesome branding exercise, and I've done this before, and some of you who know me may have done this before, but I really just want you, even if you've done this exercise before, I really want you to focus on how you do this for your speaking career. So the I help blank, that is who do you help? Do blank, that is how do you help them? What are they going to accomplish because you are in their life? Because blank. And this can either be because why it's so important to you that you do this work. It could be why it's so important to the world that this work needs to happen, why it's so important to these individuals in their lives that this needs to happen. But I really want you to take a couple minutes. Actually, don't take too long, because I want to actually workshop some of these. So I want folks to give me, write these in the chat space, and I want to be able to actually give you feedback on your statement. So I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds to go ahead and make that happen. So I'm going to chill for 30 seconds. I'm actually going to drink some water because I feel myself losing my voice. But I want you to actually do this activity right now, and then I'm going to pick out a couple and we're going to workshop them right now before we move on to the next slide. I'm laughing at Alex because I'm looking at the chat right now, and she's like, LOL, in pretty much every program you've ever had. It's so true. Alex knows. She knows, you guys. She knows. All right, so Samantha's the first person to give me her statement, and she says, I help super achieving women master their inner mean girl, sidestep doubt, and ditch overwhelm so that they can start creating the life that they crave. Samantha, I really love this. I love how polished it is, and I think that that is really powerful. And she said, I know it could be longer, but I've been working on that one for a while, and it's the closest I've come to one that feels really good. So Samantha, I really love this. I love how polished it is. I think that's really important. But I also feel like, so they can start creating the life that they crave. To me, that feels a little bit not specific enough in terms of your because. So I know you help them do this, but why is it so important that you do this work? Why is it so important that these women create these lives? Like, how will the world be different because your work exists? And that's really what I always ask people when we're doing this exercise, because I think this is perfect, something to put on your website. But I also think that it's really important for us to also think, what is the impact that we want our work to have? I see someone else. I have people overcome the thoughts of suicide, low self-esteem, and depression so they can live their best lives in Christ. I really love this. The thing I would say about this is, so it could be all people, but oftentimes, especially when it comes to speaking and being able to target, you really want to think about what type of people. Do you help teenagers the same way you help a woman who's been through divorce? Would you have them in the same audience? Do you serve both of those populations? If you do, that's totally fine, but it's just something to think about when you're talking about speaking, the fact that audiences tend to be a little bit more segmented. I help creative women build an online presence from scratch so that they can use it as a platform to grow their businesses. I really love this as well. I love these. Like Samantha's, I think this is totally perfect the way it is. I would just add for you to at least be thoughtful, even if you're not adding it in this statement, about how having women grow their businesses is going to make the world better. Why is it so important that that happen? Alex said, I help people of all ages gain a better understanding of how the details of their lives are political in ways that they least expect, because too many people think politics has nothing to do with them and don't know how they, boom. Oh, Alex, I just want to hug you. Yes, this is so real. We've worked on this many times, and I love it. Raquel says, I help young women to find value and interest in engineering because self-motivation will be the key to pursuing a career in the sciences. So I love, Raquel, that you're inspiring. You want to inspire young women to have their interest in engineering. But I think because it still needs a little bit of tweaking, self-motivation will be the key to pursuing a career. So then what you're saying is that as a speaker, what you want to do is teach them how to motivate themselves. That may be right, but you might want to play around with the language just a little bit. And I'm going to do about 2 more. I help women learn to use their talents to create passive income streams so they can stop trading money for time and still live abundantly. Love it. I would say just like with Samantha and I think, is that G who said that? Now I have faces and not names anymore. I would say that is really powerful. But you want to think about how your work is going to make a lasting impact. So these are really great, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing them. I'm going to go back to some of these during the Q&A, but I want to move on because it's already 9:41. I could seriously be doing this forever because I love this stuff. So we're going to move on. I'm going to come back to some of these. I'm going to come back to some of these in a little while. I'm just still reading the chat. I love this stuff. Okay, so let's talk about how you get your foot in the door. Once you know who you help, how you help them, how their life is going to be better, and how the world is going to be better, how do you then go about actually getting your foot in the door? Because that is the hardest part. And that's why I wanted to do this particular training about how to get your first paid speaking gig. Because getting your foot in the door is always the most challenging aspect. So how do you do it? Well, I told you guys that I was going to share with you why I think you should start speaking. We talked about that. I told you I was going to share with you a branding exercise that I absolutely adore and will help you gather your language around the speaking work that you want to do. And then the third thing that I am so excited to share with you is about how to get your feet in the door, how to get your foot in the door, and I really want to talk to you specifically about the best market for newbie speakers who are really just trying to get their first gig. Best market for newbie speakers, college campuses. Now, I know some of you may or may not have ever spoken at a college. You may not have thought about speaking at a college. I know, Alex, you're a professor, so you talk at college all the time, but we're talking about something a little bit different. I truly have found that the best market for somebody looking to break into paid speaking in particular is a college campus. And there are a couple reasons why this is. Number one, college campuses are truly diverse, or at least most of them claim to be truly diverse. That means that whether you serve men, women, like people in between, like non-gender conforming, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, no matter who it is that you serve, they are likely to be someone on a college campus, even the various age groups, unless you really are into serving much older, older folks, but even folks in middle age could be doing stuff on college campuses. College campuses are extremely, extremely diverse, and it means that oftentimes our messages can be formed to fit the needs of a college campus. Number two reason why college campuses are so awesome is because they're naturally segmented based on identity and interest. So a lot of times as a speaker, you figure out what you want to do and who you want to talk to, and then what's going to happen is that you have to go into research mode. You have to figure out, okay, what organizations serve these people, and how do I do this, and how do I find my right people? Well, with college campuses, especially if you are just starting your speaking career, it's easy to find the right organization that serves the people that you're looking to serve, whether it's undergraduates, graduates, PhD students, or even faculty and staff, whether it's by ethnicity, whether it's by religion, whether it's by gender, no matter what, whether it's by academic or professional interest, as some of you have mentioned, college campuses are naturally segmented. So it's much easier to go on and find who it is that you're trying to find. And then finally, and this is probably the most important for newbie speakers who actually want to get paid, college campuses have money to spend. Many of them have budgets. It's not like, some conferences or smaller events, nonprofits who have amazing missions, great audiences, and are totally worth speaking in front of, but they may or may not actually have a budget to pay you. Meanwhile, college campuses have that money to spend. I really discovered this when I got my first speaking engagement. And like I said, I've never been paid less than $1,500 for a speaking engagement, or I've never made less than $1,500 during a speaking engagement. And I have done a lot of work speaking on colleges, and colleges are some of the easiest places to pitch your speaking services in terms of, again, their diversity, the fact that they're naturally segmented, and the fact that they have the budget to actually pay for speakers and pay for training. Now, I want to share with you all a case study of a college tour that I did in the spring of this year, and I called it the Danger Educated Black Girl College Tour. Now, part of the reason that I wanted to do this tour, it was twofold. Number one, because I truly feel called to speak to college-aged young women, period. I love young people. I love teenagers. I love college-aged young women. And so this was something that I was really passionate about. And the other thing was because I knew that colleges, again, have money to spend. And so I wanted to go on a speaking tour, and I just thought, okay, the best way to do this is to put together and organize an actual speaking tour for myself, going to several different colleges instead of just the one-off colleges I've been going to here or there. And I'm going to stop for a second and address a couple questions. Yes. So Alex said, student organizations, workshops, diversity offices program. Exactly. And Sam asked, do you think this is the same in Canada? Sam, I honestly feel that this is still true of folks in Canada as well. I think that there are a lot of schools out there who are looking for people to come in and speak to their young people. And they have, again, those budgets to be able to bring you in and get you there to talk to the students on their campuses. And if you're in Canada, you don't have to I don't think you have to just stay in Canada either. Yeah, maybe for the first speaking engagement, you're not going to get flown to California, but maybe you will. The fact of the matter is, you can branch out and come to the United States. They will bring you here. And so I just think that still, whether you're in Canada, whether you're in the United States, even the UK, colleges are a really great place to find speaking opportunities. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about the Danger Educated Black Girl College Tour. So I decided to go on this tour, and what I really wanted to do was just go to several different schools around the country and check in and have conversations with the women of color on their campus. And it was the first college tour of its kind, truly devoted to exploring the identities and experiences of women of color on predominantly white campuses. So I came up with the idea, and then I decided, okay, I want to go to several different schools and have the same conversations. And part of the reason why I decided to do this in tour format is because I really wanted to also leverage what I was doing. So one powerful thing that can happen with speaking is that if you get a couple different talks, signature talks that you do, or events that you do, once you build out that curriculum or that PowerPoint deck or whatever it is, you don't have to go then building a whole new deck every time you go to a new engagement. And so with this, I wanted to be able to come up with the concept for one event, do all the work to get the materials together for one event, and then bring it to several different colleges, because I knew that that was going to be the best way for me to leverage my time and energy. Now, I want to share with you what my action plan was, because remember, at this time, I was still a fairly unknown speaker. And even to this day, as much success as I've had speaking, I'm still in some ways, fairly unknown. And that just goes to show you that you can make good money speaking, and you don't have to be the most famous person on the planet to have something to share that people are willing to pay for. So I want to share with you exactly how I went about creating this college tour. The first thing that I did was I came up with the theme, and the theme was Danger Educated Black Girl. And like I said, it was all about exploring identities and experiences of women of color at predominantly white schools. So I made it very specific, and I came up with that theme. And like I said, I decided the type of schools that I would pitch, because this is another thing. State schools have a whole different population and way of programming, because they're so large, at least here in the US, than a small liberal arts college. So I decided what type of schools would be the best for me. I identified the correct contact, and this included thinking about the connections that I already had at these various schools, whether it was young people that I have mentored in the past, whether it was, friends of mine who had gone to these schools, friends of mine who worked at these schools. I really thought about, who am I connected with that knows anything or is connected to a college campus that I can get to introduce me? Because as much as possible, you want to be able to make a connection through somebody that you already know. So I identified the correct contact. And then I crafted a really great pitch email. So I explained who I was. I really talked about why I thought that my work would be great for the students. And this was the most important thing. Number one was that I had a unique concept. So a lot of people were like, Danger Educated Black Girl, what is this about? Number two, I really connected it to how I thought it might improve the lives of the students. Why I felt like what I was doing, the workshop, was so needed on that particular campus. And I always tied it in with the campus's stated goals, or the person who I was speaking with, depending on their position, I would tie it into the goals of their department or their organization. Because it's always so important to think about again, not necessarily just why you want to come speak, but how you are going to help their students, how you are going to make their job come to life and their goals come to life and how you fit into that. Then I followed up, and this is a really important step because oftentimes we feel like, oh, I sent this email, nobody got back from me, nobody wants me to come, like this sucks. You guys, some of the people that I ended up working with, I had to email three times before I got a response. And there were many people that I had to track down over time. And when I finally got a hold of them, they didn't say, oh God, like, no, leave me alone. They said, oh yeah, we'd love to have you. So don't think that just because somebody doesn't respond to you the first time that means that they don't want to have you. And then finally, I used the same process. I use the same email templates, materials to book one gig after another. Because once you create everything, you have an opportunity to then just tweak it for each particular school that you're going to. And I think for a lot of us, again, who are just starting out, it's really imperative that we come up with a strong idea. We link our goals to the goals of the people who we are trying to serve. And then we continue to get out there and actually follow up again and again, because you cannot be discouraged if you haven't heard back from somebody. But I really think that this college tour, this action plan, is something that any of you can take notes on and actually go through and implement yourself. Now, in the course that I'm teaching, I'm going to go into a lot more detail, and I'll share the exact emails I wrote and all of that good stuff, how I found the contacts, et cetera, et cetera. But even with just this outline, I believe that you can take this and you can really take your first steps into figuring out, okay, if I were to pitch a college, what would I talk about? What would my theme be? What type of schools are best for my message? Who do I talk to at those schools? What does a great pitch email look like? What is my schedule, my schedule for following up? Because I'm telling you right now that colleges are booking speakers for next semester, because I'm currently in conversations with 5 different schools all about next semester. So I want you to really take this outline and be thinking about how you could utilize this to actually get your foot in the door at a university relevant to what you want to talk about. Now, I want to share with you quickly the results of my college tour. And I want to emphasize once again that I, at this point, was a very new speaker. I had only spoken maybe 3 or 4 times. I was not, like so well known. I didn't have a demo reel. I didn't have video clips. I didn't have very much at this point, and yet I was still able to put together a tour where I traveled and spoke at 10 different schools. I got amazing testimonials, and I got some street cred, because one of the things that is kind of like the chicken and the egg when you're first speaking is that people want to know, where else have you spoken? And if you haven't spoken anywhere else, nobody wants to be the first one. But if nobody wants to be the first one, then it's hard to actually get a shot. So traveling and doing the college tour allowed me to get some really great testimonials, and in one fell swoop, really add to the bulk of my credibility by saying I have spoken at all these different schools. I was able to add hundreds of new subscribers to my email list. Every single place I went, I had strategies for adding subscribers to my email list, because it was very important that I didn't lose track of them at just that event. But I said, okay, I want you to now join the community and become a part of what I'm doing. Most importantly, you guys, I paid $20,000 in speaking fees in under 3 months. Like, I literally was looking at my bank account and I was just like, I don't even want to spend this money. I just wanted to sit here looking pretty. Oh, look at it. And I say that because I have been a blogger. I have been an online content creator. I've been a coach. I have been, I have launched courses, but never in my life have I looked at my account and had $20,000 in it at one time in the span of just a couple of months. And once again, I share all this not so that I can brag, not so I can say, oh, hey, look what I did, but so I can say, look what I did. Look what you can do, because I was just getting started. I was not well known. I did not have a ton of different credentials. And yet this is what I was able to do by getting out there and saying, I'm going to be a speaker. I'm going to figure this thing out. This is what I was able to create. And the bonus is that once you get booked one time, that campus is often open to bringing you back time and time again. So a lot of the campuses that I went to last year are calling me, asking me to come back. There are several campuses that I had gone to the previous year, both of which invited me back to become a part of the tour. Once you start making those connections, those campuses will invite you back. Once they see what you can do, not only will they invite you back, but they'll tell other people about you. And so it really is amazing. And college campuses, I'm not saying that college campuses should be the only type of speaking that you do. And in the course that I'm doing, I talk a lot about all types of speaking gigs and where to find lots of different opportunities that do lots of different things. But because this is about getting your first paid speaking gig, this particular webinar, I wanted to share with you the story of my college tour and share with you some strategies around how to get your foot in the door. And speaking at colleges is a great way to actually do that. Now, I'm not 100% sure why you're here. Maybe you're a blogger, a content creator, and you were like me, where you've built courses and you've, had clients, but it's a constant hustle, constant grind, and you want an income stream where you can have an influx of cash at one time that isn't going to cost you all of your sanity and all of your time. So you're looking to build that additional income stream. Or maybe you are a freelancer or a coach and you really want to up the level of credibility you have within your niche. And so you feel like speaking is a great opportunity, which it is, to introduce yourself to new clients and also to up level your credibility within your field. Maybe you're an activist or maybe you're an academic. I know that there are several of you in my community and you want to participate in shaping the spaces and the conversations that you participate in. You want to be seen as that go-to person. You want to become a thought leader, and speaking really does help you to have that opportunity to shape those conversations. Or maybe, maybe you're just a woman with a story to tell. And this is a particular individual who just has something to say. There is something on your heart that you feel like you need to get out there into the world. And you're saying, it's time for me to step into the spotlight. I'm not sure why exactly you're here. I'm not sure which of those you are, but I do know that speaking is for you. No matter where you're coming from, no matter what place you're coming from, speaking is something that you can do. It's a perfect way to add some occasional income or a part-time income to what you're already doing. It's a great way to get out there and add more credibility to your name. It's a great way, to get something off your heart and to spread your message, to talk about things you truly care about and see how your words transform people's lives in real time. Because I know that as a blogger, I love when people email me. I love connecting with you guys on Facebook and Twitter and all of that good stuff. But there's something so real about actually being in a space and having folks seeing their face when I'm talking and seeing the impact that my words are making. Now, I guess that this is something that I come across a lot. This question, can you really do this? Can I really do this? And this goes into the second aspect of, the free write that I asked you guys to do. And I want us to take a second and I want you to share with me what is holding you back from speaking right now. All of you, and I want you to just go ahead and put it in the chat, what is holding you back from speaking right now? All of you have expressed an interest in speaking, or you would not be sitting here with me on a Thursday night at 9 o'clock at night trying to figure out how to get your first paid speaking gig. So you have an interest, you have a passion, you feel really called to start doing this type of powerful work. What is holding you back? And I'm going to go over to the chat and I'm going to hear kind of what some folks are, what some folks are saying. And I'm also going to drink some water because, again, my voice is going a little crazy. All right, so we have a couple people who have answered this question. Tamara says, I'm not sure who to pitch to. That is so real. It's so real. It can be very overwhelming to figure out, how do I get out there? How do I really start doing this in a powerful way? Who do I even talk to? Elena said, I'm not sure I know enough. Elena, I wish I could hug you right now because this is so powerful and so real and something that so many of us struggle with, not feeling expert enough to really get out there and share our message, and not just share our message, but be paid for our message. I think that's where it really starts to become a struggle, when we're actually asking somebody to give us money. It becomes really stressful. We start thinking, I don't know if I know enough. I'm not sure if I can do this. Samantha said, not knowing where to speak and finding the people, places that would be interested in my message. Again, it's true. There's a huge world out there, and it can be super stressful to try to figure out who is going to be the one who's interested in my message. Who will I resonate with? Who do I even talk to? Who do I even pitch? Alex says, just anxiety about how to book gigs. I don't have enough experience to be repped by a speaking bureau yet. I'm trying to figure out how to integrate non-academic with the academic speaking and public profile. I love that, Alex. It's so true. And your life has always been kind of a mesh of figuring out those two things. Although I'm going to ding you on saying the repped by a speakers bureau, because as I've shared with you, I've never been repped by a bureau. I've never had a mentor. It's totally possible. And Alex, you in particular, I know you have what it takes. Someone says, fear in general, fear of not knowing enough information. I don't consider myself an expert. Yep, it's so real. Something we really struggle with. Raquel, fear of not being good at it for the demographic I want to speak to. Yep, that's real. Again, these fears. Someone says English is not my first language. I've blogged, written in English, been invited to blog for a U.S. hair website. Yet I feel maybe my English is not good enough. Girl, if you're talking to us, you could talk to somebody else. I can only speak from the heart of my experiences. That's all you need. Sam says not knowing what to pitch. How do I make myself the person they are begging to hear from? It's so true. It's so true. Marketing, effective copy, pitching issues. All of these issues that you all are bringing up right now are so very real. How do I sell myself? How do I get over my insecurities? And these are all things that hold us back from being able to do what we want to do. And that was really why I wanted to show you. I wanted to lay myself out there for you, because you know what, you guys, I'm just an average chick. Like, I mean, I don't want to just straight up call myself basic, but like, look, like, I'm no Maya Angelou, like, I am an average girl who has something to say, and I sat down and I figured out how to get out there and make it happen, and you can do the same. You can sit here and think about for so long how you're not ready, but the truth is that you are ready, and that's why it was so important for me to do this training, and also why I've thought long and hard about creating the first new program that I've created in almost a year. It's been almost a year since I did almost 6 months since I've done a new program. And I really wanted to sit down and think about, what do I want to teach next? And this was it. This is what I want to talk about. This is the thing that I really want to be able to share with my community. And you don't have to go at this alone. You could do what I did, and you could try to spend time figuring out how to do all this from scratch, but it's very overwhelming. And those fears and insecurities, that lack of confidence, that confusion, it's so hard. Or you can work with a really amazing mentor, willing to help you blast past all the mistakes, missteps, and melodrama in about 20% of the time that it took me. Like I said, I haven't created a new course in a long time, but I really felt like now was the time to really think about, how do we create a generative movement of women of color, people of color, taking the stage across the country and around the world, sharing our expertises, sharing our story. That's something that I'm truly passionate about right now. And I've spent some time trying to figure out what I can do to really support those efforts. So I've created a new course, and it's called She Speaks. It's an intensive, self-paced masterclass for aspiring speakers. And you know what, y'all? I almost did not use the word masterclass. This word has been so overused in the last year. Good Lord, if somebody else says something about a masterclass, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I really do feel like that's what this is, because it has been a long time since I have sat down and created materials this in-depth and this intensive around a particular topic. And I'm talking about 15 plus video lessons that come in MP3 forms, that all come with customized worksheets to help you actually take action and go through the course. Some of what you're saying about not knowing what to do, not having the confidence, not feeling brave enough, I tackle all of those topics, and I walk you through in a very, like I said, super intense deep dive into what it takes to really get out there and create a speaking career. I share some never before seen templates from my own speaking career. I mean, I really go into the exact proposal that I send, the exact email pitches that I've sent, the format of my speaking contract, my invoices. I show you all of the documents that I use, and I make them super customizable so that you can take them and almost word for word use them for yourself in your own career. These are the exact templates that took me, somebody with not even that much experience, and allowed me to present myself as a professional and start getting paid from day one. I also give you guys an in-depth case study of the Danger Educated Black Girl College Tour. We didn't have time on this workshop to truly delve into exactly how I made this happen, exactly how I found the right people to pitch, exactly how I came up with the emails, the psychology behind the emails that I sent, and how I went about organizing this, what that process was like, whether it's best to work with student groups or administrators. I really did not have an opportunity to go as in depth into all of that as I will in this case study, and so much more, so much love and so much realness has gone on into creating this course. So much has gone into making this a true resource for women of color aspiring speakers. And I don't know if I cannot make this claim 100%, but I do think that this is one of the only courses out there that has been made specifically for women of color, because we have some very specific challenges that we deal with in particular. I'll just even share one of the challenges that you may deal with if you're somebody like me, for instance. I like working with people of color. We tend to have less funding for our events, whether it's on a college campus or not. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with working with community organizations that don't necessarily, that serve the population you want, don't necessarily have the funding that you want? This course is created particularly to recognize the identities and experiences of women of color and have us step into the light as speakers. And I honestly feel like it's one of the only courses that has been created specifically for us, by us. Now, the curriculum, like I said, it is an in-depth resource around how to literally go from where you are now, maybe have had 1 or 2 speaking gigs, maybe haven't had any speaking gigs yet, to bringing in real money through speaking, to building a real career, a real income stream around this. In Module 1, we talk about how to find your right people and how to discover your ideal audience. Now, I'm going to laugh because Alex knows this is something that I always do every single time I do a course because it's so important. And even if you've taken one of my courses before, this is very specific to speaking, because in speaking, you have dual audiences. You have the event planners and you have the actual audience. And you learn how to find both of those, how to speak the language of both of those audiences. And I really dive deep into thinking about, how do you find these people? How do you get inside their head? How do you use language that truly resonates? In Module 2, we talk about going pro and successfully marketing yourself as a speaker. And what's important here, and again, number 1, this is where the fact that this has been created specifically for women of color really comes into play. How do we own our expertise? And how do you talk about your expertise, as Sam said, in a way that has people banging down your door, even if you're looking at yourself like, I've never spoken, I don't have a blog, I don't actually have any credentials. That's okay. All of that is okay. We talk about how to use what you have right now. This isn't a speaking course that's going to teach you how to speak 5 years from now. This is a course that's going to teach you how to take what assets you have right now, whatever they are, and turn those into a successful avenue for you to market yourself as a speaker. We're going to work with where you are to get you where you want to go. In Module 3, I talked to you about how to find, pitch, and land the perfect speaking opportunity. You guys, I think there's only been one thing that I've ever pitched and been turned down for, and that's from when I've had no experiences, all the conferences that the conferences that I've applied to, other things that I've done. I found a way. I have a 4-part outreach strategy that truly works, even if you've never spoken before, because you got to remember, all of this expertise is coming from the place of somebody who was just there. I was just there earlier this year. I was just there, 14 months ago, where I had barely spoken before. I'd only spoken a handful of times before. So how do you find, pitch, and land the perfect speaking opportunity, even if you have no idea where to start, even if you don't necessarily have the credentials you feel that you need to get out there and start getting paid? I promise you, you do, and I will show you how to pitch and land speaking opportunities. In Module 4, I give an in-depth tutorial on how to actually deliver an epic speech. And this is something that I went back and forth about, because some people were like, oh, do you need to actually teach them how to do a speech, or you could just teach them how to get a speaking gig? But you know what? It's not just about how to get it. What do you do once you get it? Because I can show you everything you need to know about how to land a perfect opportunity. But if you've never spoken before, it's so easy to get intimidated even once you actually have a gig. So I walk you through, I give you step by step how to create an outline, how to pick the perfect format for you, how to choose a topic, and this is super important, that is in line with what you teach and what your audience really wants to know. And I really talk you through, even if you've never spoken before, if you have incredible stage fright, I promise you that if you follow these steps, you can deliver a really epic talk. And then finally, in Module 5, we talk about how to use speaking to fuel your business or a career. So a lot of people think of speaking as, oh, well, I did it this one time, a little one-off thing that, I've done. I'm telling you, speaking can continue to pay off time and time again for you. It pays dividends over time in your brand, in your career, in your business, on your blog. And I am going to show you how to strategically leverage what you're doing as a speaker to grow your career on and offline. Plus, I have these two really great bonuses. Like I said, the first is that I share some templates with you guys, ready to use templates for my own career as a speaker. And as I mentioned, I give you this in-depth video training of the Danger Educated Black Girl case study. So this is going to be a whole additional video training. It's going to be in depth with its own workbook, its own strategies for how you can do the same thing. I created a $20,000 tour when I'd only spoken twice. And I want to show you how you can do the same thing. Now, at the end of the course, what you will leave with is a really clear idea of your core message and language, how to talk about it in a compelling way to the audiences that matter the most. You'll leave with a deep understanding of your target market and practical strategies, again, for connecting deeply before, during, and after your talk. You have to think about the full phase of the relationship. You'll have a compelling speakers page that sets you apart from others in your niche and comprehensive pitch plans for up to 5 target speaking opportunities. So for those of you who are saying, I don't know who to pitch, I don't know how to pitch myself, you will leave with pitch plans for 5 target speaking opportunities. You'll have a signature talk outline so that you are ready to not just get an opportunity, but get up there and kill an opportunity. And then finally, and this is probably the biggest part, you guys, something that's so important, you will have the confidence you need to get out there and start building a speaking career as fierce as you are. And y'all are pretty damn fierce. I've been talking to you all night. You guys are doing amazing things, but it is so scary to start putting yourself out there. And that's why I created She Speaks, because I had to figure all this stuff out on my own. I had some missteps. There was some melodrama. There were tears along the way. And I don't want you to have to go through that. I want to share with you how you can build the speaking career that you're really looking to build, whether it's full-time, part-time, or occasional. I really want to show you that you can start from where you are right now, where you are right now. You have what it takes in this moment. It's just a matter of me helping you understand how to leverage what your assets are and to talk to the right people so that you can get booked for gig after gig. Now, the investment for this course, because I know this is something that a lot of you are probably wondering. And I thought a lot about this because I've seen a lot of programs out there, $1,000 and, $1,000 this and $750 and $1,200 here and this and that. And I honestly feel like this course is as valuable as any other course you're going to see out there. But you know what? I want this course to be affordable. I want this course to be something that people will be able to have access to so that people can start to think, how do I build this speaking career? And for that reason, I didn't want to price it in the $1,000 range, even though I know that it's probably worth that amount of money. It's easily worth that amount of money because if you can get one speaking gig, you can pay off a $1,000 course. But I wanted something that was going to be truly accessible to folks who are passionate about doing this work. So I priced it at $499. Now, for the next 36 hours, and because of what happened earlier today, for the folks who are on this list and on this webinar, it will be at the price of $399. So through today, tomorrow and part of Saturday morning, the course will be available for $3.99, including a payment plan if you need one. But after Saturday afternoon, the price of the course goes back to its actual course, to its actual price, which will be $4.99. So if you're interested in the course and you're thinking about it, I just want you to go to yesshespeaks.com. So you can find out more about the course at yesshespeaks.com. And there you can find all the information that you need to learn about the course and what it has to offer. But again, if you're really interested, if you're really passionate, I tried to price this so that it will be accessible, created a payment plan so that it could be accessible. But the $3.99 price is only happening until Saturday morning. So if you know this is something that you want to do not wait on it, because it will go up to $4.99. And I don't want y'all being on CP time talking about, oh, but I meant to, but then this happened, and then no. If you know this is something you want to do, then make sure you make time to explore it and register before Saturday, where you can still get that $3.99 price. Now, I've shared with you guys all I have to share about speaking, about this course, and now I want to take a few minutes and go through any questions that you might have. So I'm going to pop back over. I'm going to stop screen sharing. I've been playing with my hair for like the last hour as I was talking, and I have not been looking at myself, so I have no idea what I'm about to look like. So we're about to find out together. All right, let's see if... let me put this down. All right, so at this point, you guys, I just want to, oh, the hair struggle. It's so real. It's so real. Okay, there we go. All right, all right, fine. So you guys, this training, honestly, the reason that I wanted to do this, and I'm going to be real with y'all, because I've never been embarrassed or ashamed about the fact that I am passionate about seeing women of color do big things. And when it comes to speaking, I cannot tell you the number of times I've been at a conference, I've been at an event, and I don't see any other women of color speaking on the panel or speaking at the event with me. Mad women of color in the audience, nobody speaking at the event with me, and I know that it is our time to step into the spotlight. We have to stop being afraid. We have to stop thinking that we don't have enough to offer, because I'm telling you, we do. And before I start taking questions, I just want to share one quote that a mentor shared with me a couple weeks ago that truly impacted me and has been a guiding light as I was creating this training, and also as I've been working on She Speaks. And what she said to me is that if you don't have a seat at the table, then you're probably on the menu. So y'all, it is time for us to take our seat at the table, because we've been on way too many menus as of late. And I'm ready for us to get out there and start sharing our truths, our experiences, and our expertise, and not only share them, but be paid what we're worth. So I want to take some time and take any questions that y'all have, although I know it's getting late. So if you have to go ahead and go. But I'm just going to take just a couple of questions. And I also want to remind you that if you want to check out She Speaks, go to yesshespeaks.com. And I'm going to send that out in a link in an email. But if you can't wait and you want to see it now, yesshespeaks.com. So do we have any questions while we have a few more minutes? So let's see, I'm going to go up and see if there's anything that I need to answer. All right, so I don't have any questions right now that I'm seeing. So if you have a question, feel free to pop in. I sent you some cues. How did you send them to me, Raquel? I think Raquel, oh, perfect. Raquel has been sending me questions via GChat. You are the best. Okay, so I'm gonna take a couple questions that Raquel has been collecting, and I owe Raquel $5. You're worth so much more than $5. I'm sorry, not Raquel, Siobhan. Although I love you too, Siobhan. But I'm looking at Raquel's questions right now. Siobhan is amazing. She's been collecting questions all night. Thank you so much. I don't know what I would do without you. Raquel is the first question on my list, and Raquel asks, how do we put former speaking opportunities on our resume? Well, Raquel, the thing that I would say is that you should have a particular resume for speaking. So it's called your speaker's packet or your speaking page. And that is the go-to place where you talk about your speaking gigs. If you do not currently have a website, then one of the places that I would put it down, a great place to put it, not necessarily on your resume, but on your LinkedIn page. Really awesome to put yourself as a speaker or trainer. People look for speakers and trainers on LinkedIn. So you want to make sure you have that on your LinkedIn page. If possible, actually ask those people to make recommendations so that people can see those testimonials. But I would say go ahead and put that in your LinkedIn page. So Alex asked, how many speaking gigs do you do per year now? Alex, this is a really great question. And the answer is that it really just depends on how I'm feeling. So this is probably my first year that I've been, and this is kind of a weird year to go off of because I did my tour earlier, so I did 10. I'm talking to 5 people in the spring, but then I moved this summer, so I didn't do a lot of prep for speaking in the fall, and I haven't done a ton of speaking this fall because I've been transitioning. So that's the thing I actually love about speaking is that it really adjusts to your time. It really adjusts to your time table and your time frame. The thing about speaking is that it takes a lot of lead time. So for instance, I'm talking with schools now about speaking in like March of next year and February and January of next year. So you do need a bit of lead time. But Alex, honestly, it's really hard to answer that because this is probably like my first full year. I think by the end of this year, I'll probably have done about 15, including the college tour. And then I have 4 or 5 lined up that I'm lining up right now for the spring. So I would say it really, like I said, it really depends on what I'm up to. But I know that I could do much more or I could do a lot less. Like I did a ton in the spring, didn't do so much in the summer and fall, and that was kind of how I planned it. So it really is just based on kind of what's going on with my life at any given time. Tamara asks, do we have to be certified? Good question. The answer is no. I am not certified by anybody but my high school and my college that I graduated from these institutions. But otherwise, I don't have any type of coaching, speaking certifications. I have a great deal of respect for all forms of education and credentials. I'm a huge nerd, so I appreciate and respect those who did go that route because I think that in and of itself brings something to the table. But I feel that for those of us who did not go that route, we still have something to bring to the table. And that's why I was talking about how, you know, in She Speaks, I really talk about how do you use the assets that you do have, right? You may not be certified, you may not be known in your field, but there are things that you do have that are markers of credibility. And how do you find those in your life right now so that you can then go to someone and present yourself expertly in a confident way. So it does not have to be, you do not have to be certified. You don't have to have any particular credential. It's just a matter of understanding the many different ways that somebody can have expertise. Let's see. How far in advance did you plan your tour? What is a good timeline? So another great question. If you're thinking about schools, early every semester. So let's say you decided to enroll in She Speaks or you wanted to think about doing some schools. I would really you could start talking now about going to a school in March of next year. So really, you want to do it at least a semester in advance. And I probably did not give it as much time as I really needed to, because I ended up super stressed trying to do all of this because I hadn't given myself enough time. But schools really plan a lot in advance, so you really need to get in, have an understanding of like how to talk to them at least a semester in advance of when you're actually trying to go. So okay, so I have 2 questions from Alex. Elsie, were all of these unsolicited pitches? You got some suggestions from friends and family about who to reach out to, and then you just sent them an email? Do you have an example of one of the emails that you sent? So Alex, most of these, I don't have an example on me right now that I could pull up. But most of the pitches that I sent, there were 2 ways that I connected with people. One was via introductions. So if I knew somebody at a school, I would reach out to them and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to plan. And I would still treat it very professionally. Even if they were my friend, I gave them all the details that they would know. I had created a site for, and actually, hold on one second. I don't know if it's still up. So I had created a site for this, and sorry, one second. And so I sent them all the information that I knew they would need in order to connect me to the right person. But then a good number of and actually, woohoo, my site is still up. I need to like renew this site, but let me actually give you, let me actually put this. So this is the Educated Black Girl tour site. Alex, I do not have an email that I sent, but this is basically like a giant sales page for what I was trying to do with Danger Educated Black Girl. So feel free to look that over. Anyone, feel free to look that over. There are a lot of good gems in that sales page. But yeah, a lot of the emails that I sent were unsolicited. So I basically did a lot of research, figured out who was the best person to contact, and then I sent them a pitch. I gave them all the information that they needed to know about me, and that was kind of how it went. And like I said, feel free to look at the Danger Educated Black Girl college tour site, because that gives a lot of information about how I actually talked about this tour. And then in the course, and she speaks, when I do the in-depth walkthrough, I do talk in detail about how I put together this tour, how I pitched, what that looked like, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to take about 2 more questions. Let's see. So Q from Alex, do you talk about how to figure out how much money to set aside for taxes? So Alex, this is a good question, but this is more of a general business question. And I'm not really an expert on taxes. So no, I do not talk about how to set aside money from taxes. There are some different resources online to help you figure out, if you're self-employed, how much of your taxes, how much of your money you should set aside for taxes. That is something that you want to consider. However, that's not something that I go into in depth. I really use the She Speaks course to talk about how do you get out there? How do you build your speaking brand? How do you market yourself as a speaker? And what does that really look like for you? How do you then pitch opportunities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So I think those are my last questions. So it is 9:37. Honestly, y'all are amazing. Anybody who is still on this call right now, been with me for an hour and damn near 40 minutes. You are so amazing. Thank you so much. And I told you guys that I was going to give something away at the end of this call. And what I want to give away is a one-on-one 30-minute session with me. So what I want you to do is that if you are still under the sound of my voice, if you can hear me right now, send me an email and let me know I want in. And I'm going to put all those names into a randomizer, and I'm going to pick somebody out of those names to win a free 30-minute session with me. So if you can hear me right now, send me an email, let me know you want to be entered, and I will make sure to actually enter you and make sure that your name is entered when I give away that free 30-minute session. You all have been so freaking incredible. I honestly, my mind is blown because earlier today was such a freaking disaster. But it is so amazing to have you all show up, hang out with me for an hour and 40 minutes till almost 10 o'clock at night. Thank you so much for being here. And like I said, make sure you check out YesSheSpeaks.com for more information on my new course, She Speaks, because I truly believe that every single person who was here tonight can make a difference by stepping onto that stage. You can transform your life. You can transform the lives of so many others. And I honestly believe that. I've priced the course at where I feel is accessible and still affordable. I know it's money. I hear you. I've been there. I thought about putting it at one of the, like I said, $1,000 range because I know it's worth that. But I want to make this accessible. So from here until Saturday morning, the course will be available for $3.99. So if you know this is something that you want to do, and there is a payment plan available. So if you know that this is something that you want to do not miss out. Go sign up and make that happen. Oh, I told you guys to send me an email, then I didn't give you my email address. That's hilarious. So send me an email at cgconfidential@gmail.com. Let me know that you want to be entered into my raffle. And if you send it to Black Marion Hustling, it'll get to me as well. So don't worry about that. I have like 50 million email addresses. If you send it to me, I will get it. I will put it in the raffle, and I will let you know who wins a 30-minute one-on-one session with me. So thank you again, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up because it's 9:40, and I'm sure we're all tired. Check out YesSheSpeaks.com. Send me an email. Let me know you want to be entered in the raffle. And even if you don't sign up for the course, you know what? Do something. Take an action out after this training to actually move you forward with some of these goals that you have, because they are worth it and you are worth it. And I believe in what you're trying to do. Good night, you guys. And thank you again so much for hanging out with me and my wild child hair and all my books and my water and my iPad and my phone. We made it. We made it, technology. Can't keep a good woman down. All right, y'all. Good night. And I look forward to hearing from you and hopefully working with some of you very, very soon.